For the second time this month, Russian forces have suffered their second deadliest day since the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, according to figures released by Kyiv. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported 1,630 Russian casualties over the 25th of October, surpassing the previous second-highest tally of 1,530, which was set just last week. The bloodiest day for Moscow's forces was on May 13th, when they suffered a reported 1,740 casualties. The figures do not specify killed or wounded, though the overall consensus is that it includes dead, wounded, missing, and captured. Facing a shortage of manpower and a pressing need to maintain the grinding advances in eastern Ukraine, Russia has reportedly been throwing some of its most skilled troops into mass infantry attacks, and at very high costs. The past 4 months have proved the costliest for Russian forces since the war began in 2022, according to a UK military intelligence report on September 23rd. According to some experts, the surge in losses in recent months may be one of the factors behind the deployment of North Korean troops to Russia. The disclosure that North Korean troops may appear on the front line is a direct consequence of catastrophic Russian casualties. John Foreman, CBE, the UK's former defense attaché in Moscow from 2019 to 2022, told the Kyiv Independent last week. Their military effectiveness is questionable, and they will be cannon fodder for Ukrainian defenders. The Netherlands became the latest country to confirm the deployment of North Korean troops, claiming at least 1,500 are to be stationed in Kursk Oblast, where Ukraine still holds sizable territory after an incursion launched in August. We expect the troops will mainly be deployed in Kursk and consist of mainly special units from the North Korean army, Dutch Defense Minister Ruben Brekelmans said in comments reported by Reuters. He added that Russia is likely testing the troops and gauging international reaction. The U.S. made its first public confirmation that it had evidence of Pyongyang soldiers being sent to Russia following previous reports from Ukraine and South Korea. U.S. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby later said they were fair game for Ukrainian forces. If they do deploy to fight against Ukraine, they're fair game, they're fair targets, and the Ukrainian military will defend themselves against North Korean soldiers the same way they're defending themselves against Russian soldiers, Kirby told a press briefing at the White House. A Ukrainian Defense Forces FPV drone operator shot down a Russian Gerbera drone. The video was posted on the War Home Telegram channel. This is the first publicly known case of a drone of this type being shot down by an FPV interceptor drone. According to the channel's author, the downed UAV differs from the same type of Gerbera UAVs that are commonly used by Russians. The simplest version with no payload is usually used as a decoy target for air defense. Such drones are equipped with cheap commercial GPS antennas and sometimes with modems for mobile internet that use Ukrainian SIM cards. At the same time, the downed drone was equipped with a secure CRPA-type satellite antenna and a telemetry data transmission channel. During the presentation of the Gerbera UAV, it was announced that it was available in 3 versions. For example, it can be used for electronic reconnaissance, as a kamikaze drone, or as a decoy for air defense. On the night of October 25th, the operators of the Ukrainian Unmanned Systems Forces hit a Buk M3 launcher and destroyed a 9S-36 fire control radar of the Russian invaders. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reported on this and published the relevant footage. The Russian air defense systems were hit on the temporarily occupied territory in cooperation with other units of the Ukrainian Defense Forces. The strike was carried out while performing tasks to detect and eliminate the enemy air defense assets. However, it was not reported what kind of drones were used. The General Staff said that the launcher of the Russian Buk M3 air defense system and the 9S-36 radar had been located in the temporarily occupied territory of the Luhansk region, several tens of kilometers from the combat line. It is worth noting that the 9S-36 fire control radar is part of Russia's modern Buk M2 and Buk M3 air defense systems and is used in the war against Ukraine. On the night of October 21st, the units of the Unmanned Systems Forces discovered a 9A317M launcher of the Russian Buk M3 air defense system 60 kilometers from the combat line. Last month, the 413th Separate Unmanned Systems Battalion, together with the 78th Airborne Assault Regiment Hertz, has targeted a Russian Buk M3 in the Kursk region with HIMARS. Buk M3 is a medium-range air defense system that is an extremely important component of the invaders' air defense. It provides cover for ground troops from Ukrainian aviation and is capable of operating from the rear areas against targets beyond the front line. A characteristic feature of this system that visually distinguishes it from the previous Buk M2 model is the new anti-aircraft missiles stored in the sealed cylindrical transport and launch containers. The new missiles of the system have significantly expanded its potential, providing interception of the aerodynamic targets at a distance of up to 70 kilometers and an altitude of up to 35,000 meters. The European Union may have its own intelligence agency that will collect information about the external threats. Bloomberg writes about this with a reference to a draft report by former Finnish President Sauli Niinistö. The main goal is to collect information about the threats outside the EU without duplicating the work of national agencies. The journalist's interlocutors emphasize that the EU officials are now analyzing threats and taking action based on the open sources and information that the 27 EU countries have agreed to share. The creation of its own intelligence service, which will not duplicate the work of similar national agencies, will help to identify risks, respond to the crisis situations, and engage in counterintelligence more effectively. According to sources, Niinistö will propose to expand the scope of responsibility of the European Union Intelligence and Situation Center, which reports to the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. According to the former Finnish president, the updated structure will collect data from the national intelligence services and issue recommendations for the EU institutions based on them. It is also expected that it will be proposed to impose restrictions on travel within the EU for third-country diplomats if they pose a threat in terms of sabotage or the espionage activities. It is noted that it was part of the bloc's efforts to strengthen defense and security preparedness amid growing risks, including the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin's actions against the Eastern EU members, the potential impact of conflicts in the Middle East, and concerns about China's assertiveness. In June, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia called on the European Union to build a defense line along the border with Russia and Belarus. The creation of a defense infrastructure system along the EU's external border with Russia and Belarus will make it possible to meet the urgent need to protect the EU from the military and hybrid threats, the letter from the leaders says. By the hybrid threats, they mean a combination of the military and non-military, as well as the covert and overt means, including disinformation, cyber attacks, economic pressure, and migrant smuggling.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.